Sailing Traders was founded by Ellen and Harry March of southern Arizona to bring the art of indigenous people to the United States. Since 1997, Sailing Traders has been working with the Huichol and Tepehuano Indians of central Mexico. About 1,200 miles south of the U.S. border lies the ancestral home of the Huichol Indians. Deep in the Sierra Madre Mountains, the Huichol are scattered over thousands of square miles of rugged terrain, which has enabled them to resist modernization for centuries. Living remotely, gathering occasionally to celebrate and worship, these people have remained true to their ancient culture. The Huichol plant their crops of maize, beans, squash, and chili on the rugged slopes of these deep canyons. Many of the religious designs in their art symbolize the struggles of subsistence farming. These areas are either accessed by many days walking or flying in single-engine planes to small dirt landing strips. The remoteness of their rancheros in the mountains makes it very difficult for the Huichol to sell their art. Traditional mountain housing is built on stilts to help with cooling and keep out animals. For part of the year, many Huichol live in small communities on the outskirts of Mexican cities where they are able to create their art and sell it to collectors from all over the world. Sailing Traders works closely with 6 families of bead artists and several yarn painters who live in Zataqua, a Huichol village on the outskirts of Tepic, capital of the state of Nayarit. Graciela Medina is preparing this dolphin for beading by first kneading and softening the beeswax resin base. She spreads it thinly and evenly over the surface so the beads can be applied. The resulting surface must be smooth and flat so the underlying piece retains its character while the beautiful symbols are recognizable on the outside. For centuries, the Huichol had been pressing pebbles, seeds, and shells into wax to decorate offerings to their gods. When the Franciscans, Jesuits, and conquistadors came from Central Europe and introduced glass beads to the Indians, this art form took on new beauty. Today, Huichol supply stores exist in the Mexican cities of the area to supply gourd offering bowls, carved wooden masks and other objects, beeswax, and beads to the artists. These beads measure under 2 millimeters across. Some of the artists work with beads less than half this size. As this traditional art has evolved, the Huichol are beading many different base materials. Ceramic, paper mache, other woods, even metal is now used as a base for this art. Graciela's brother Lino inserts a long needle into the hank of beads. Traditionally, a cactus spine was used before needles and pins were readily available. Experienced bead artists often fill a needle with different colors of beads, instinctively knowing just where to place them in the wax to achieve the desired design. Lino places each bead into the wax layer spread over the wood coyote figure. Huichol bead artists do not etch the design into the wax, so they have a pattern to follow. The designs are all in their heads, then transmitted directly to their work. Huichol children learn this art by sitting next to their parents while they are beading. They begin beading as play, but as they mature and grow in talent and skill, their work truly becomes art and they are able to help the family by selling it. The Huichol practice shamanism, revering their shaman as healers and respected leaders who guide them through the spirit world. Huichol art has evolved as one of the means of expressing their faith and honoring their gods. Ramon Medina, son of one of the most famous Huichol shaman yarn painters, is carrying on his father's artistic tradition. Unlike the bead art, the Huichols have only been doing yarn work for around 60 years. Contemporary yarn paintings use acrylic yarns. As with the bead art, the yarn is pressed into beeswax spread over the underlying surface. These examples of yarn art were done by the Bautista family, Tepehuano Indians who live adjacent to the Huichol in Zataqua. The Bautistas also work with small wood animal figures, jaguar heads, and other media. As yarn paintings tell a religious story, these artists usually etch their design into the wax, so the meaning is clear and the story coherent when the work is complete. Ramon is creating a 2-foot square yarn painting, or quadro. Although the word quadro is used to describe this work, many paintings are round rather than square. The figure he is working on represents a shaman who has entered into the dream world. Yarn painters, if not shaman themselves, are nonetheless very spiritual and depict the fact that every act and every symbol is a petition to higher powers. The practitioners of this religion are known as the people of the peyote, as the peyote cactus figures dominantly in their religious ceremonies. Chosen members of each church must travel to the desert each year to collect the peyote. Religion permeates all aspects of the Huichol life. Prayer offerings and petitions to the gods are deposited in sacred places as daily occurrences. Creating a yarn painting is akin to praying, depicting some of the hundreds of existing Huichol legends or creating new ones. Yarn paintings with a simple design can be as small as 4 inches square. On the other hand, one yarn painting can cover an entire wall and take several months to complete. This beautiful work will continue to exist as long as there are art lovers who appreciate it. Sales of their art will enable these Huichol Indians to survive in the 21st century while maintaining their traditions and their culture.